everything New Orleans Pelicans from a fan's perspective. 27 points, 5 rebounds. Welcome to Pelicans Flock Report, where I give you everything New Orleans Pelicans from a fan's perspective. I'm your host, D. Broussard. The Pelicans coaching decision could change everything. Borrego or something new? That's the huge topic right now. James Borrego, still the interim coach. Is James Borrego the guy? Is he not the guy? A lot of people are mixed and torn between the decision on James Borrego, and we really don't know right now. We really don't know. But I myself, I'm a huge basketball fan. I play basketball. I'm currently trying to develop an AAU team where I will be the coach. And the one thing I know about basketball is coaching matters. It really does. I know the NBA has changed where players have a lot more power than what they used to, but coaching and systems really matter. You look at Jordan, you look at Kobe, you look at guys like that. You know, they had a great coach with Phil Jackson as the head coach, running that triangle offense, winning championships. So coaching matters. I'm a huge advocate for coaching. I get players talent, that matters too, but coaching matters. And personal feelings, what you think about a guy, what you like about a guy. Sometimes, well, I would say all the time, that doesn't really matter. It's all about systems and what's working for the team. That's the type of things that matter, when you're trying to build a winning team. Now, um, under James Borrego, the Pelicans uh, are 24 and 44. That's James Borrego's record as the interim head coach. That record to me is not really that great, but overall, I feel like James Borrego has done a pretty decent job with what he was given with this team. The team, as far as roster wise, wasn't really structured around a James Borrego system. So I think people have to also uh, think about something like that as well. Sometimes a roster has to be structured around a certain coach. And I think James Borrego did what he could do with what he had, in my opinion. Now, since James Borrego has been the coach, the Pelicans have improved, uh, better offensive efficiency, more passing, off ball movement, better spacing for guys like Zion, which we know that Zion does need space to operate. So I feel like that's a good thing. Also, we've had higher assist numbers. The shooting efficiency has gone up, although the Pelicans have struggled at times making the three ball. But a lot of that has to do with the fact that we don't have much shooters on the roster. So, but overall, the shooting efficiency has gone up. Also, development, which development is really, really key going forward with these young players, these young guys like Jeremiah Fears, Derek Queen, Yves Missi has developed under James Borrego a lot. We've seen Yves start to work on developing more of an offensive game. Um, Carlo Makovic has developed a whole lot. So development is really key, especially when you have young guys. You want somebody that's going to be able to develop your young guys and give them more confidence going forward. And I feel like that's always been a huge thing for James Borrego, even during his tenure with the Charlotte Hornets, where LaMelo Ball won not the MVP, the Rookie of the Year that year under James Borrego. So we know that James Borrego is definitely open to giving young guys a lot of minutes and helping them develop and maximizing their potential. And we need somebody like that, especially with two young up and coming superstars like Derek Queen and Jeremiah Fears. Now, also accountability. We've seen James hold guys accountable. Guys like Jordan Poole. When Jordan Poole wasn't playing well or he wasn't playing the way that James Borrego wanted him to play, we seen him out of the rotation, not in the rotation at all, because Jordan Poole wasn't playing the way that James Borrego wanted him to play. And I feel like that's a good thing because that's old school coaching. Like I said, I'm a guy that's huge on coaching. When I was playing basketball, if you didn't do the things that the coach asked of you, you came sit down on the bench and you thought about what you needed to do before you got back in the game. And I love coaches like that. We've seen it with guys like JJ Redick holding guys accountable. Tyronn Lue, we've seen that. And I like that about coaches that's gonna hold guys accountable. Um, and also um, that cleans up a lot of bad habits as well on the basketball court when you hold guys accountable. Also, the one knock I would say towards James Borrego is the defensive consistency. Now, it was the same thing with James in Charlotte as well. And I think that had something to do with his firing during that time in Charlotte was just the defensive consistency. And that's always been a question mark with James Borrego, um, where we've had poor rebounding under James Borrego, inconsistent with the defensive identity. And that's always been a huge thing for this team is finding our defensive identity and our full identity as a basketball team. And we know that Joe Dumars is in the front office. Joe Dumars was big on defense, especially playing for those bad boys teams back in the days. Defense was a big deal for those teams winning those two championships in Detroit. So we know that a guy like Joe Dumars is going to focus on building a defensive identity for this team. And that's something that James Borrego has struggled with over the years. He's been good offensively, but defensively, it's always been a question mark. We've struggled protecting the rim under James Borrego. That's been a huge thing. So if you want to compete and contend in the NBA, you're going to have to get better on the defensive end of the basketball. It's a must. You have to defend. So that's one of the knocks that I would say that I've seen from James Borrego is that we really haven't developed a defensive identity. But one thing I can say is coaching stability really matters. When you keep firing and hiring coaches. We see this a lot with certain NBA teams, such as like the Sacramento Kings, where they keep firing and hiring all these different coaches. And Sacramento continue to struggle to make the postseason because it's always a new coach. It's always somebody that's implementing a different system. So it's hard to develop as a basketball team when you constantly have a new coach every single year. So that's the reason why I feel like James Borrego might need to remain the head coach going forward because it's definitely going to um, improve uh, the consistency. Uh, it's not going to reset the chemistry with the team because we all know what James is looking for as players, and also it may hinder the player development if we get rid of James Borrego because, like I said, a lot of the younger guys have been able to develop under James Borrego and they feel real confident under his system. Um, and when you keep a coach, it brings continuity. So now going into next season, like I said, these guys know, okay, what our coach expect of us. We know that this is what we need to do to be effective in this system. And we've seen Jeremiah Fears get better, during those last couple games, scoring 40 points, scoring 30 plus points, because he believes that his coach, or he knows that his coach has confidence in him and want to see him develop as a young player. So that's one of the big things that I would say. Coaching stability definitely matters. And, you know, I just feel like we have to try to give James Borrego another season and see what he can do. Now, there are other candidates out there. You have Mike Budenholzer, you have Darvin Ham, whose name has been mentioned. You have Sam Cassell. It's other guys out there, but overall, I just think that keeping the coach, I think that really matters, especially when you're trying to build something and get into the postseason. One thing I can say as well is Jordan Poole playing in those last couple games. I kind of started to see a different Jordan Poole. I didn't see him forcing a lot of crazy shots. I saw him taking good shots. I saw him taking shots that he could make, making the right plays, the right reads. So I think that benching Jordan Poole really helped him to figure out what's needed from him on this team when he's on the basketball court. So that's just something that I saw that that's really good. But I don't know, man. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Is James Borrego the guy? Should he get fired or be replaced? Y'all let me know. I know it's a lot of mixed feelings out there about James Borrego, but I myself, I think we need to give James Borrego another shot. So y'all let me know. Like always, man, y'all make sure that y'all like and subscribe to the channel, the all new Pelicans Flock Report. Shout out to everybody that's already subscribed. I really appreciate y'all. I'm your host, D. Broussard. Until next time, I'm out.